Welcome to Tuesday Talks. I'm Seema Kumar, and today I'm so excited to be here at Helaina, a biotech company that is right here on the Cure Innovation Campus. And it's a company that explores the health benefits of food to advance lifespans. I'm here with Helaina's CEO and food scientist, Laura Katz, and we're going to explore her labs and discuss how Helaina is the first company to bring the immunity properties of breast milk to food for all stages of life, from enhanced infant formula to elderly care nutrition. Laura's team developed a technology platform that replicates functional proteins found in the human body, making them available as nutrients. Hi, Laura, welcome. It's fantastic to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming to the lab, Seema.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I've been here before, but we've never filmed here. So I'm looking forward to actually walking down a little bit later to seeing, what you've been up to. So before going into the lab, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your personal background as a food scientist. And where did you get this idea?
So I'm a food scientist by training. That's how I started my career, developing products from idea to shelf and doing all the fun technical bits that come with making new foods. Often in a lab, but really focused on flavors and textures and making new food products. And I saw a lot of innovation going into alternative dairy and alternative meat products to make these alternative products taste like the real thing. And I saw the food industry borrowing technologies from pharma to make these new products. And I thought, well, this is great, but instead of taste, what if we focused on nutrition as the outcome? And if we could borrow the same technology, like gene editing tools and precision fermentation, to make things for our food that are healthier and make our food closer to medicine. So with that pursuit, I was listening to a podcast about the black market for breast milk and how people try to buy breast milk on the internet from strangers, which is really outrageous. It sounds outrageous, but their whole goal is to get the nutritional value of breast milk. And so I thought, well, if we're trying to build a future where food is medicine, can't we replicate these really highly nutritional components of breast milk using this technology we see a lot of the food industry adopting to carve a path forward for food as medicine? And that's how the idea for Helaina got started.
That's fantastic. And, breast milk, right? We all know, we've sort of intuitively learned that, breast milk is important, especially for infants that are growing up, because it's got just an extraordinary amount of immunity properties. It's got all these special things that's very hard to replicate in real life, right? Yeah. And so, this aha moment that you had from the black market, it's so valuable that there is actually a black market for it, right? So but then how do you take it from like this idea, which seems really like a great idea, to actually action and to founding a company like Helaina?
So I started by trying to understand breast milk. What do we know about breast milk? What do we don't know, or what do we not know about breast milk? And what I quickly realized is that breast milk is not completely defined by the scientific community, but what we do know is that there are proteins in human milk that are really valuable for the immune system, and they're responsible for building our brain, our gut, and our overall immunity from birth. And so all of the people going to the black market for breast milk are really seeking out these proteins. And now we know how to make recombinant proteins. A lot of different industries make them. And so I thought this is a great place to start. These proteins are really valuable. There's nowhere to find them in the food supply. And the technology, or the basic technology, exists to replicate them. And somebody's got to do that. So that's how we started. And it really was a pursuit of, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to figure out how to get this company off the ground, because we can be doing a lot of good for people's overall health and really transforming their health through food if we can bring these proteins to food for the very first time.
That's just phenomenal, and I think that we all know the whole, debacle that was, 2 years ago
Yep.
about the shortage in baby formula. And I'm going to come back and ask you a little bit about baby formula because for so many reasons, right? Women cannot breastfeed their babies, or there is a shortage, or kids who are given away for adoption don't have access to breast milk from their biological mothers. So the question is, how come, what is different about what you're doing now, which is very different from like baby food formula? What's different?
Today, infant formula and all nutrition available is based off of resources we can get coming from conventional agriculture. So infant formula uses cow's milk typically as the base of the nutrition, and then that's built off of with additional vitamins and minerals and different components. There is nothing in there that is human. And so there are innate differences between cows and humans, and that translates into the nutritional properties that the milk can provide to baby or can provide throughout the life cycle. What we're doing at Helaina is we use a technology called precision fermentation, which is based off of yeast. So you might be thinking yeast, well, why would we want to eat yeast? We're not eating it. We take it and we use it as a vehicle to train and produce human proteins. So we grab
They're like little production factories that create the protein.
Exactly. We grab the yeast cells.
Yep.
We program them to make human proteins. We then feed them all the food that they need to grow and multiply. And in that process, they spit out proteins that have the same structure and function as what's found in the human body. It's very similar to how human insulin is made, but instead of programming these little microbes to make insulin, we're programming them to make human proteins. So with that, we, for the first time, are making these food ingredients that have the exact same profile as what's found in breast milk. And that has the ability to really fundamentally transform babies' health right from the very early days, where many parents can't breastfeed or choose not to breastfeed. But because of how scalable the technology is, we can bring these really valuable immune proteins to people throughout their life and have impact on their health at any point in their health journey.
Wow, that's just impressive and mind-boggling. And I'd love to take a tour of your labs and, see a little bit of how you're making these little yeast production factories work to produce, breast milk. And we're going to take a tour right now if you'll walk me around.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the lab.
Thank you. Oh, how exciting.
What we're walking into right as you step into the lab over here is our molecular biology department. So at the start of what we do in our process is we take yeast and we program our yeast to be human. So we use advanced gene editing tools and we work with our yeast cells so that when we feed them all the food that they need and we ferment them, they produce human proteins. The way that we improve accessibility of what we're making is to reduce the cost.
Yes.
Some of the primary ways to reduce the cost of our product is teaching our yeast how to make more protein per unit. So we are constantly tinkering around with 5,000 genes that are in our yeast, tuning them up and down and training things in and out to figure out what is going to be the most successful intervention or change to the yeast strain that's going to produce the highest yield.
Yes. And really what the yeast are functioning as, mini factories, really, to produce this protein. And you want as much of this protein as possible.
Exactly. So this is our Afera, Actoferrin, the pink powder. It's pink because it binds iron. So it gets this light pink color, but when it's added to other products, it kind of dissolves in. You don't notice the color, but this is what it looks like when it comes out. If we continue to walk down the hall here, we have several different rooms that have different roles for Helaina. So here we have this big general purpose lab. But if we move down our hallway over here, we have our bioprocessing room. And in here, we've got bioreactors that are fermenting our yeast. So we have many different fermenters here at small scale. And this directly correlates to our production at larger tank sizes with our manufacturing partners. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 10-liter fermenters here. At commercial scale, we have 50,000 liter tanks.
Wow.
So we've miniaturized the process here, and we do a lot of testing to see what process conditions are going to be exactly perfect to provide what the yeast need to be as productive as possible. Yeah. So we have a food science lab. Most people say, don't eat your experiments, but that's exactly what we do here. We take our lactoferrin, our Afera, and we test it to see how does it work in beverages, bars, gummies, infant formula. All of the application work is done here.
Smells like milk in here.
It smells like milk. We have a spray dryer in there. So we test drying different products, including formula, sports drinks, protein powders. So it smells very sweet.
Who are the human testers who are actually tasting it?
We taste it.
You taste it?
I've tasted so many different products here. We are constantly working with our customers who are making different products and showing them how they can use Afera in a new product they want to launch. So we've made drink mixes and protein powders and gummies and all kinds of things. And all of that tinkering, we'll taste it here ourselves.
Yeah, that's great. That's excellent. So first of all, congratulations. I mean, this is really impressive work. And congratulations, of course, on achieving the commercial scale with Afera, right? Is that how it's pronounced? The first commercial human equivalent lactoferrin for food and supplements. And, you know, as you bring the ingredients to market, what can you tell us about your clinical research? How are you scaling this, doing the clinicals and bringing it to market?
So we are making, really, at the end of the day, this is a food ingredient. We're making a product that's going to go into foods. This first product that we've scaled is called Afera, human lactoferrin. Lactoferrin is the holy grail of dairy proteins. It is what makes breast milk so magical, and it's actually found throughout the human body. It's in our sweat, in our tears, in our saliva, and what it does, it helps to protect our body against different infections. It's an immune protein that helps us build the immune system. It plays a role in the gut. It also plays a role in our cognitive health. And so what we did as a company was run a clinical trial. And now, you know, we're talking about something that is really important for our health. And we would think, of course, you run a clinical trial. But actually, most food ingredients don't do clinical research. It's not a requirement. For us as a company that's really looking to chart a new path for how food can be medicine, we thought clinical research would be incredibly important as a way to make sure that we're validating everything we know about human lactoferrin. So last year, we ran a clinical study on Afera in healthy adults, looking at their overall tolerance of a human protein compared to the cow's milk version. And we looked at different doses of Afera. We also looked at immune markers as well, and we got really incredible results. So with that, we're able to start to bring Afera into the market with a really strong technical background that allows us to really say, yes, the proof is in the pudding. We've run this clinical study, and we're really proud to be able to disrupt the world of nutrition with Afera.
That's really incredible. Now, tell me a little bit about how, you know, what would a consumer who is in the market look for and find? I mean, is it incorporated into all kinds of foods, or is it going to be like a food supplement, or is it going to be like whey protein that you get in a little tin? How are customers going to see this product?
We partner with brands where they put our Afera into their product. So this can be used very similarly to how probiotics, vitamins, minerals are used in food products. It's very easy to work with. So we've showcased our Afera in all different kinds of products that we've developed in the lab. Drink mixes, which is what we used in the clinical study, and yogurts and infant formula and protein powders. It's a low inclusion protein, so a little bit goes a long way. We only need a couple 100 milligrams, which makes a dose. So it makes it very easy to incorporate across several different types of product categories.
Wow. So you're not only disrupting infant nutrition, right? You're also disrupting adult nutrition. I mean, that's just crazy to think about, you know, us as adults being able to get the benefits of breast milk, you know, even at this age. What have been some of the biggest roadblocks or any surprises so far?
We're charting a new path here. We're taking a technology that's still quite nascent, scaling it and doing it incredibly quickly. And so I think as part of our process of getting to where we are today, we've had to create new steps to take that have not existed before, from figuring out how to get our yeast to make something human at the scale and the cost of food. That in and of itself has been a big challenge that we've overcome, primarily because this technology was designed for the pharmaceutical industry, and food is not pharma.
Yeah.
You eat a lot of it, you eat it more frequently, and so the cost structure really matters here. And that's been something that we've been really working towards as something that we know will unlock our ability to bring access of these proteins to as many people as possible. We want this to be accessible. So that's been definitely a big hurdle to climb. And then I would say building the company, you know, amongst creating this great technology, we have an incredible team of people that have such different scientific backgrounds across yeast engineering, bioprocessing, immunology, food science, protein chemistry, you name it. We've got a scientist here who's the expert in their field, and making sure that we can bring all these people together harmoniously, all on the same path forward, I think is the part of company building that people don't really think about how challenging it is, but so fulfilling and rewarding when you are able to create that path for yourself. So all of these have been very exciting hurdles, but you know, hurdles nonetheless that we always have to be in really building mode in our mind and not get too, you know, over our skis when it comes to successes and little wins that we have.
So what's also really, you know, interesting about your company is that it's a female-founded company, and those, as we know, are a rare breed. And so it's really nice to see a female-founded company, and there's a lot of women empowerment here. In fact, there's a wall of women out there. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's really rare to find a female-founded biotech company in the middle of New York City, but then also doing something that is really geared towards women and babies. That's our North Star. And so we wanted to honor all of the women who've come before us as a company, who have been, you know, incredibly accomplished in STEM or even related fields, and have a wall dedicated to them when you walk into the office, to be reminded that there's so much power in being at the front of your field as a woman, and it's also a big responsibility. And so we take that very seriously here at Helaina and make sure that every single day it's something that we're thinking about and is anchoring us to help accomplish the mission we have as a company.
So you've raised to date a total of $38 million, and as a solo female founder, you did this. So how did you go from 0 to 38 million to where you are today? Yeah.
Started really doing searching on my computer in the Lower East Side here in Manhattan in 2019. I went onto Crunchbase, which is a database for investor and company information, and I looked up, okay, who here may be interested in giving me any amount of money? So looked at smaller VC funds, pre-seed and seed funds, angel investors, went through that whole database and cold emailed everybody. I didn't have a network. I was a couple years out of grad school, having worked in startups, but never being investor facing. And so I just emailed people. I just reached out cold. Many people ignored me, but there were a couple folks who did answer my email, and I was able to get them on the phone. And that helped us form our pre-seed round, which we raised at the mid to end 2019. So it was really off of cold emails and no network at all. I just was very dedicated to figuring out how to make this happen, and didn't really mind if people passed on the idea, because I knew that it was going to be an uphill battle to figure out how to break into this world. Fast forward a few years later, I was able to figure out how to build out a network, how to leverage some of the folks I've met, and really take their guidance on moving forward into a space that was very unfamiliar to me. I'm not a finance person, that's not my background, and so it's a lot of learning on the spot, a lot of making mistakes and figuring it out as you go. And with that mindset, really a tenacious mindset that you can do it, anybody can do it. You have to be comfortable with being pushed down and standing back up and keep going and keep going and keep pitching. And that just never bothered me, the rejection piece. And so I was able to overcome a lot with the right mindset that we have to help this mission, or I felt really obligated to make this mission a reality. And with that comes fundraising.
Yeah.
So we figured it out. Even though 2.1% of venture dollars goes to women, if you take that statistic out of your head when you're fundraising and you believe what you're building is really unique and needs to be in the world, then you'll attract that funding.
What a great story. What a great story, right? And the story of just being, figuring it out, doing it, not taking no for an answer, and cold calling and making it happen. And, and failure is part of the journey, and learning from it and standing back up is what it's all about. And of course, we call that the growth mindset. And
exactly.
You have it in spades. So, with that, what advice would you have for other female founders, especially those in academia, who are trying to create a new venture and don't know how to even take the first step?
Just start. That's my best advice. No one knows what they're doing. I still don't know what I'm doing every single day. Send that email that you've been thinking about, but you haven't clicked send on. If you are saying the wrong thing or reaching out to the wrong person even, you'll learn that quickly, and then you'll figure out how to redirect. And it just requires you to start and put in the work every single day. And know that just because you don't know what you're doing, you will figure things out. And then you're going to step into a new space where you, again, don't know what you're doing. And that's okay. If you feel really passionate about solving a problem, which is what we do here every single day, and you have confidence in yourself that you can do it, or you'll build the confidence over time, maybe you don't right away, take that first step, send that first email, make it so that you can say you're an entrepreneur, you're a CEO of a company of zero, maybe, of 0 people, but you're the CEO and you're putting yourself out there to go build the company that you want to build.
That's great. That's phenomenal advice. Now, you now have your first product and you're on a mission to bring human bioactive proteins to every baby and every adult in the world. What's next for you and what's next for Helaina?
I'd say we're still early. So we are bringing Afera into the world, and that is a big project. It's a big task to bring a human protein to food for the first time. So I think we're really just scratching the surface of what we've done with this first protein that we've developed and how we can make sure that we can get it into the hands of everybody. There's still a lot of work to get done to improve our clinical program, do more clinical research, do more research on what it is that we're making so that we can consistently better understand what we're making and communicate that to our customers. That said, we have a platform at Helaina that allows us to make any human bioactive protein faster and cheaper than anything on the market today. And with that, we can also make proteins with the right structures. So for the technical folks listening, the right post-translational modifications, the right folding, and these are really important to provide the functional property to proteins. So we've done this with one protein, but we have others in the pipeline.
It's replicable.
Exactly. We've got a platform here, and it's all powered by a machine learning algorithm that allows us to really churn through additional interventions into our yeast and other things we do to produce future proteins. So Afera is our first. Can't say what's coming next because we're working on it, but there will be other products in the future.
That's great, exciting, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
We're looking forward to keeping posted. And before we go, though, I must ask you, what does a cure mean to you?
When it comes to food, which is the space that we operate in, I think if you feed yourself well every single day, that is ultimately the cure. We see the ability to use food and nutrients like our Afera, human lactoferrin, as a prophylactic treatment you can think of to help support your health today for things to come in 5, 10, 20 years from now. And without the role that we see of food playing with our health, we wouldn't be able to be healthier later in life. And we see food as playing such an integral role in longevity and overall health span. And I would say, if I think about what does cure mean to me, it's how we eat and live our life every single day. That's the cure.
It's great. Food is something that is, basic to human beings and sustenance. And so if you can make it of the highest quality, healthy living is, that's what it's all about. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Laura, and congratulations to you on your success.
Thank you, Seema.
And for more information on Laura and Helaina, go to our website at www.wewillcure.com. And see you again next week.